Hello to myself and everybody else. This is video 33. So far in this one, this is the last song I'm going to look at for Buy Some Milk Story 4, which will make all the songs for every story I've made so far. Kinda. Based on story 1, I didn't cover everything, and I'm not really going to. And then there's like some cutscene music, but that's really taken from like the boss or the stage, so there's really like little things like that too, where really no point in me going through those. Basically look at the stage and the boss, I'll be fine. But from there, this will be the last one on my music until I make like story 5, because I'll probably like at least record my process with that, so I can at least be able to like see myself make something in live time. Just be cutting back and forth through that. But yeah, just see what I can do. But yeah, so far for this is story 4, and what I'm looking at right now is the farm stage of story 4. So this is the music for that. I'll just go ahead and play it. Yeah, so far for this one, it's pretty short. I can tell from this too, I was doing my call and response thing again too, because like how all these just ones and it just has like a different ending and stuff to it as well. The bass and stuff itself, I don't actually remember. I'm trying to see. Yeah, so it's not an exact copy of that. Yeah, going off of it, I was just trying something a bit different. Yeah, so yeah, the bass, I was just trying something a bit different and stuff with it as well. Like, so again, overall, this one doesn't really sound insanely too bad. Like, let me just hear all the way from here up until before the melody kind of stops. Yeah, so far they do go pretty well together and everything too. And then just hearing the bass and stuff on its own. Yeah, so far again, doesn't sound too bad on that. And that bump it sound at the end, just hear it again. Yeah, so this one again is pretty short, but doesn't really sound too bad. So far, I say my call and response method of making some of these don't really sound too bad. Again, it's still really opinionated. To me, it doesn't really sound too bad when I make these, at least call and response style. Say everything goes pretty well together with this. I did like switch the drums up, even though same 1, 2, 3, I at least switched them up instead of just using like a bunch of 1s and then 2s or whatever. Yeah, so for this one again, I give it like a pretty good pass. It's short, loops pretty well, just it's a stage, so again, with it being so short, I don't really know how that really holds up so well and like, you know, just being fine for something I have no idea, but with that, I'll just kind of see how that goes, or I already saw it out. So far again, just the song doesn't sound too bad, just that's the whole thing of it. So this one, I'll at least give it a pass, sounds okay. Call and response method, I should try at least working with that a bit more, because those I've made at least sound okay. Bass wise and stuff are alright. Like I said again, just work with that and see what I can do. But yeah, that's really just it. So with that and all, I'll go ahead and just look at the next thing. This right here is the music for the final boss of story 4. Also pretty short, so let's go ahead and play this. I'll at least say this with a lot of my music. Like, I can get it to loop pretty well. At least in my opinion. It can loop pretty well where you can't really tell. Like, if you're listening to this whole song and stuff too without looking at it, playing the fight, you really won't know when it loops unless you're specifically looking for that. Uh, Beyond that, like I said, again, it just sounds kind of. You can tell I was really running out of like time and just ideas. I was just like making something because boss themes are really like the thing that. Like boss themes, I do struggle on making those like a lot. So that's a definite thing I should try working on once I feel like more comfortable making a bunch of stuff. So really just like trying to get certain things down with that. Like boss themes make it sound intense. I really do need to work on that. Just hearing the beginning, I'll just like hear this kind of again, just to like hear parts of it again. Just with that, like again, at least how the bass and melody goes well together, at least a little bit and stuff like that too. I just separated the drums because I was having a hard time coming up with something, so I just separated them just to kind of see what I could do with this and everything. Then just go into the bass just to hear that again. Again, this one, doesn't sound too bad. The main thing I do want to say is that like with the drums here, using like longer notes like this in this area here, I rarely ever do. I mostly always use like short notes like this, or even like really shorter ones and stuff like this most of the time, using these two areas. So just actually using like a longer note, that sounds like pretty decent. Just yeah, just it sounds pretty good to me. I should probably like start using more of that and everything, just for what I'm making and all that. And then like this last part, I just kind of like put together. Again, does go well with looping with the beginning and everything. It just again, I was definitely just trying to make something pretty quick, so it at least turned out alright. It's for a boss fight that actually is not super long, so most likely if you play this and you know what you're doing or you figure it out by accident, you can like beat this in like 2 seconds. Even if you don't, you can still beat this like pretty quick. So most likely hearing the whole song, you might hear the whole thing or you might just like hear part of it and that's it. So again, not super bad. Hearing it again, I probably thought it would have been like way worse, but again, it's like perfectly alright. So there is that. But with that and everything, at least compared to like some of the other stages I made, at least sounds not that bad. So at the very least with that, this being the last song in story 4 and the last I'm going to cover for a while until I start making the stuff for story 5, and then just random other stuff in the future and all that and stuff as well. So we're just going through all of these. If I had to say, again, I've definitely repeated myself like a lot with a lot of these in a row. So like with each story, I just like repeated the same thing. With story 1, I was like, this is bad. You know, I just need to learn like to work on my bass and make my melodies more memorable. And then in story 2, that one I was like, okay, I made the basses all right. I got to work on my melodies and make them like better. Except like the ones I actually worked on the melodies first, those actually sound pretty good. Then story 3, that one I just kept saying a lot about like work on the panning and the mixing of the audio. And story 4, I just kept saying I kept rushing a whole bunch, so that was like a big problem with that and everything as well. But basically overall with all of them, the main thing I say is again, headphones, make sure I use that. 2, make sure I try working on the melodies and the basses so they can sound good separate and together. 3, don't rush and don't work on multiple songs at the same time. Work on one song at a time. Confirm it sounds good before I move on. Take my time and stop trying to rush. And basically the other thing is just like again, just if I don't meet my deadline, again, I'm giving myself the deadline so I can just try to take my time and not rush. If I need to like take time and work on it later, just do that. Because story 5 is gonna be the last story, and I kind of want to end on like a pretty good note and stuff here too, where I'm like, okay, everything I learned from story 1 through 4, I brought that together here. The things I told myself not to do, I didn't do them. So I told myself to do, I at least learned, so I could do that. Just everything like that. So story 5, I'm definitely gonna try to improve, try to make this the best kinds of music I made since then for a while for this whole game. So I'll definitely record myself making that, and that I will try to like fast forward through stuff when I make it. I won't just make it like a full I made a song in this time, because that will probably be hours long. So like I said, it'd just be a lot of like on off recording and stuff too when I'm doing something. But yeah, I'll just try to do something with that. I'll just try to work on that. But yeah, so far, again, looking through all these have really helped me, because I can especially go back, review these without having to go back to BeepBox and just open all of them up again. But I probably have to do that anyway. But with that and everything, at least I can just like review my music, have my thoughts from hearing it, and then just be able to go back, hear it again, and make me think about something else. Like I go back and watch it, I'm like, okay, I forgot to mention this, but at least I'm thinking about it now. Just things like that. So covering these was pretty good for me. And if somebody actually watched these for some reason, then I do genuinely want an honest opinion about like what you think about the songs and all that and stuff, because really any advice will help me out like a lot, because I'm learning all this on my own, just like trial and error wise, like no studying, no help from nobody else, just really just trying to figure this out on my own. So any advice would be really useful. And also just thanks for watching it, if anybody actually is. But again, just beyond that though, to myself and everybody else, see you in the next one.